All right, I think we'll get started. Maybe someone else will join us at some point as the video goes on. Welcome, everyone. Today we've gathered to present to you the new product lines from our PDTools Superabrasives production. The format of the video will be as follows. We'll talk about the new product lines, their main features and advantages compared to our other product lines. We will also give the floor to our partner and expert who tested these product lines, QS Sharpening, Yuri. If anyone has any questions, please, we'll be happy to answer them. What will be covered in this webinar? The main features and advantages of the new sharpening stone line, as I already mentioned, as well as how they differ from previous generations. Recommendations for the selection and use of these bars. And this webinar will be useful both for professionals and for sharpening enthusiasts and for our partners. This will be both new information about the new product lines so that there isn't too much. First of all, first. Today we will start with a product that has already proven itself on the sharpening market. These are the premium line sharpening stones. Now, after the restyling, we call them premium bronze. People commonly refer to them as MO or copper tin stones. Nina. These stones are legendary, and there's a lot to say about them, but we won't go into detail. Let's watch a short video about them.
If you are familiar with the world of professional sharpening, you have undoubtedly heard of the diamond and CBN stones on a bronze bond made by PDTools. These are true legends among sharpening tools, recognized as the benchmark for quality, durability, and efficiency. Over the years, they have earned an impeccable reputation among professionals, and even today, they are hard to surpass in terms of quality. To highlight their heritage and unmatched performance, we have updated their name. Now they are known as premium bronze. There are legends about the durability of these stones. Their expected lifespan is 50 years with intensive use. You can truly pass them down as an heirloom. If you haven't yet tried the stones from the premium bronze line, you definitely should get yourself these legendary stones and enjoy their performance.
We have also updated our equally well-known line, Organic Expert. Now we have called her an expert among Stalin. Let's take a look at the features.
Expert Pro, an updated line of stones on a polymer bond from PDTools, which has proven itself worldwide. The new bond formula provides an optimal balance between elasticity and hardness, allowing the stones to work longer without losing their shape. This line is ideal for all hard types of steel. The stone works especially well in finishing operations. If you are looking for perfect stones for fine finishing on hard steels, the stones of the Expert Pro line are for you.
So, were you able to see? In the previous videos, the Poltava factory stones are now produced on anodized multicolored blanks. This makes working with them easier, as each color corresponds to its own grit size. Now let's move on to the presentation of our new product lines. We understand that different tasks require different solutions, so we've created 3 completely new ones. Product lines for the most demanding craftsmen for sharpening. The first product line we will present is the premium vitrified line. This is a line based on a ceramic bond. What makes these stones unique? First of all, stones with a ceramic bond provide very good uniformity, and at the same time they offer a very high working speed. With this bond you can work dry, with water or with oil. Using oil will give you better performance. Here's a short video. Let's take a look.
Premium Vitrified is a line of high-speed diamond and CBN stones with vitrified bond. They combine working speed with uniform stone wear. What makes premium vitrified PDTools stones unique? The combination of the vitrified base and super abrasive gives these stones incredible speed. It is worth noting that the uniformity of the surface after using these stones will truly surprise you. Suitable for various types of steels, they work excellently with high alloy and powdered steels and are ideal for the medium sharpening range from 225 grit to 550 grit. Premium vitrified is the choice for those who like to work fast and with quality.
So the next product line we want to present is the premium silver line. Premium silver are stones with a metal ceramic bond. What makes these stones unique? The unmatched speed of the stone. They work very quickly and are great for changing the angle while also maintaining durability. They combine the durability of a metal bond with the uniformity of a ceramic bond. Let's watch a short video.
Premium silver is a unique line of metal vitrified stones, created for those who seek the perfect balance between aggressive metal removal and clean finish. What makes premium silver special? Metal vitrified stones with CBN Superabrasive combine the strength of metal stones and the precision of vitrified ones. This is a new generation of stones the world has not seen before. These stones do not change their geometry even after long-term use, like those on a metal base, but at the same time, they have extremely high working efficiency and are consistently aggressive in performance, like vitrified stones. PDTools has managed to combine these two properties so that sharpeners around the world can truly appreciate them. This line is perfect for working with any hard steels with hardness up to 70 HRC. They are great for both quick edge forming and full sharpening cycles. Silver stones are for those looking for the perfect balance between productivity, finish quality, and durability, and who want a universal solution for all types of steels.
And the last product line we want to present is the premium nickel line. Simply put, these are stones with an electroplated bond. How do these bars differ from their counterparts? Other manufacturers. First, we use premium CBN in these bars. Premium CBN with a double layer nickel coating. This increases the durability of bars and improves its aggressiveness in different ways. The advantage of these stones is that they do not require flattening and can be used with any type of steel, both hard and soft steels alike. Let's take a look. Short.
Premium nickel, electroplated bond, created for those who need maximum metal removal speed with uncompromising efficiency. What makes electroplated stones unique? The electroplated bond, CBN grains are evenly placed on the surface, ensuring maximum aggressive performance. The highest sharpening speed, the perfect option for restoring heavily dulled or damaged blades. No lapping required. They always work consistently without the need to restore shape. Suitable for all types of steels, including hard powdered alloys. Premium nickel stones are extraordinary in grinding performance. With such a stone, you can perfectly sharpen over 100 knives.
in the middle. So we will add all these videos to the group where you registered for this webinar, and you can watch them again. Now, I would like to give the floor to our expert or partner. He tested them, he, let's say, held them, worked with them, and he has something to say. Yuri, the floor is yours. Yes, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome. Can you hear me? Yes. Once again, for those who don't know me, my name is Yuri Sergen from the brand Wives, Knives and Sharpening. I am a representative of PDTools products, the Poltava diamond tool plant. I also take part in the development and testing of abrasive tools and sharpening systems. And you can basically purchase almost the entire. The pediatrician's assortment is specifically for sharpening, but most importantly, when you buy, you get a full consultation on how to use them. Regarding today's topic, I always say that there are no extraordinary abrasive tools, but there are laws of physics, chemistry, and geometry. And based on that, each abrasive tool has its own strongest points. And that's exactly why we, together with the Poltava plant, are constantly working on improving the capabilities of abrasive tools and expanding their range. By the way, in addition to significantly expanding the range of sharpening stones for sharpeners, full-size stones and wheels for sharpeners like Tormek, Jet, and similar models have also appeared. I have tested all the tools.
I participated in the development according to my area of expertise, but today I want to explain what the differences are between these product lines or series of stones, how to choose them better, and what you should base your choice on. All abrasive tools have four main properties. That is working speed, consistency of performance, durability, and price. Of course, when we talk about the PDTools abrasive tool, we are talking about a high quality tool. That is why all the aforementioned properties, of course, are at a very high level. But still, in each series, some properties are higher than others. For example, the premium bronze series. As we have already said, as Serhi has already mentioned, it has an almost endless lifespan. That is, even the most active sharpeners have not been able to wear down the stones completely, and I think not even by half. Even those who bought them a very long time ago, at the very start of production of stones in this format, I think 8-10 years ago. So maintaining their shape, specifically maintaining the working surface, is the strongest point of this series. That is, right up until the moment of need, you would have to sharpen. Well, I don't even know how many, an enormous number of knives, and that's no exaggeration. So this series is very simple and straightforward to use. The next example is a series, Premium Silver Series. This is the best in terms of speed and aggressiveness. Metal removal. And at the same time, it offers very high uniformity. By the way, I think that's a very rare combination of properties within a single series. As they say, there really are no equivalents. So if you have a large volume of sharpening to do and you need high quality, I think this is definitely your choice. But if you need even higher speed, there is a solution for that as well. The series Premium Nickel Electroplated. Even greater speed and uniformity, but with a shorter lifespan. Well, let's put it this way. If you're not doing this commercially, meaning you're sharpening for home use, friends, family, or acquaintances, then this lifespan will still be enough for a lot of knives. As Serhi said, that's more than 100. But I think that this number will depend on the size and type of steel of the knives you're sharpening, and it could even be higher, up to 150 to 160 knives. The next series is premium vitrified. It works more slowly, but how should I put it, more gently or more precisely, if that's possible to say. That is, it works in cases where some very hard bonds are less effective. For example, if we are talking about traditional Japanese kitchen knives, which on one hand have very high hardness and on the other a very thin edge, then I think that this particular series and the series Expert Pro will be ideal because, as we all know, hard steels with a thin edge can chip from abrasives on very hard bonds. But this premium vitrified series works, I would even say, gently. And the same goes for the Expert Pro series, meaning these are improved polymer stones. They also work more slowly, more deliberately compared to the premium bronze or premium silver. But again, they work very gently and create on the cutting edge what the Japanese call smoky kosumi, meaning it's an interesting and unique balance. It's a balance between aggression and a kind of velvety, soft and smooth cut. By the way, the medium and finishing wheels for machines like Tormek, Jet, and similar ones are made precisely with this type of bond. So honestly, I have to say I'm thrilled with how they perform. Well, I also think they have tremendous longevity, but so far I haven't been able to calculate it. But on the Tormek, I've completely switched to PDTools wheels. Honestly, I don't see any point, and as for the Chinese ones, I don't even consider them for this purpose. Moreover, with this Expert Pro bond, I tested full-size stones. So when your knives or tools require a large surface area, I consider this a very interesting solution, in fact, even the only viable one, as of today. So, to sum up briefly, that's about it. If you have any questions, I can answer them now or later somewhere. Below this video, you'll find links to PDTools' resources as well as my own resources, where you can either make a purchase or get advice regarding buying. Well, that's about it. Sergey?
Yes, Yuri, thank you for telling us about our products. I'll get a little ahead of myself. Did you mention that we've already given you something to test? Full-sized bars. They will be double-sided. They will be 200 by 70 in size. The thickness of the layer will be 2 millimeters on each side. This will probably be the topic of our next webinar video. We'll probably also touch on the wheels you mentioned.
Right now, I don't want to. I just want to share.
Wide bars. Let's sum up. Thanks to these new rulers, we've taken sharpening capabilities to a whole new level. At least that's how it seems to me. Now every craftsman, any professional or enthusiast can choose the perfect tool for their task. For hard or soft steels, they can choose our company, and our partners are always ready to consult you if you have any questions. If you have any questions right now, you can ask them live, or this video will be saved and you can write in the comments. Our managers will be happy to respond to you. Maybe Yuri has some questions about our products.
Well, I don't really have a question, but I would like to add a few more nuances. People ask about this very often. First of all, regarding how it's better to assemble a set for yourself, linemen, or even to mix different ones together. I'll tell you this. It truly all depends on your specific goals and individual needs. For example, let's say you have a set of hunting or some working knives for going out into the forest and so on. And if they are made from some medium hard or hard steels, then in principle, you could just assemble a premium silver or premium bronze set. But if, as I already mentioned, you have some special knives made from particular steels, either very hard steels or, on the contrary, very soft ones, that's exactly when it's great to have a choice and the ability to mix and match. For example, you can start from bars that will be under heavy load, but for them it's easy. That's the premium bronze series. Then move on to the silver series for conditional speed and finish with the Expert Pro. Or vitrified. Somehow, is this the first or second thing I'm facing? And that's why I want to. Well, basically, I want to recommend working specifically with PDTools, because if something doesn't work out for you, you can always get a consultation. You can always pick up whatever else you need. Buy, for example, some kit to level or build up the blocks, or if something didn't work out, then some kind of exchange. In other words, a guarantee of quality. It's not just on paper, it's not just words, it's actually put into practice. So if something goes wrong, the factory is always there and they always try to help. Serhi, I'm being told that people want to write questions in the chat, but the chat isn't working.
It is working. I can see the first question. Oh, already. The question was from Andrei Horin. Hello, what sharpening angles do you recommend for kitchen knives and for hunting?
Well, those are very broad questions, but I'll try to answer them within the scope of the webinar. Well, first of all, there are different types of knives. That is, if we're talking about home kitchen knives, there are, roughly speaking, 3 types. So I'll start with the largest one. These are kitchen cleavers, for example, used to chop up a large fish or a chicken or something like that. In that case, I think, and in order for the sharpness, if it lasted longer, then the path must be somewhere there. Around 46 degrees if you do it really well, or down to about 40. I think you don't need it any thinner than that. As for the middle ground, so chef's knives or some universal knives, for example, it depends again. If it's a softer steel, it's better to make the angle a bit larger, say around 40 to 38 degrees. If it's for more delicate work, if you have a cutting board, preferably an end grain one, then you can even make the angle down to 30 degrees. And for example, with some small knives for peeling, you can make the angle even thinner. But keep in mind that if the knives are used by more than one person, for instance, quite a lot of people when peeling often work with their thumb, this is something to consider. And that's why in such cases, it's not advisable to sharpen it at a very thin angle, because that will just lead to injuries. So that's how it is. If we're talking about, again, hunting knives, then it's 40 degrees. If it's some kind of EDC pocket knife, then basically it depends on how you use it. A pocket knife might be, say, for slicing an apple, or maybe for opening packages or cutting off some plastic ties. And in that case, of course, it's better to adjust the angle. So that's about it.
Thank you, Yuri. We have another question. How do you properly cover sharpening stones? Look, at our production facility, All-Min, the human factor is minimized, so our sharpening stones are ground on a special machine. A master finishes them off, we lap them on a carborundum stone and level them on cast iron plates.
Well, I agree with this, and I'll add more since I've been working with PDTools for quite a long time. Yes, lately, honestly, I don't even see the point in bringing them to a working condition myself. Maybe unless you're a real perfectionist, then I can recommend just slightly refining the finest bars just a little bit. Well, maybe the coarsest ones as well. But as I said, right now I don't see much point in it. And further, I agree. That's glass. That's silicon. Yeah, sometimes people recommend using it. I don't recommend any acids. Well, I mean, it doesn't really help much, but it does eat away at the bar. So basically, well, any kind of chemicals, they basically corrode it. And well, the main thing is that there's no point. I mean, the only case is if you really, well, if it's possible, if you've managed to successfully remove a large saddle, then maybe you could use ferric chloride and work with that. But if it's some urgent situation, I think just glass, silicon carbide powder, roughly about twice the grit size and nothing else would be best.
Yes, we also had a question about our warranty, exchanges and defects. We guarantee our quality, and if something like that happens, then of course we change.
Well, speaking for myself, that does happen, but very, very rarely. In my rather long history of working with the factory, I can remember 3 cases, that's all. There haven't been any more.
So how long does it take to resolve a warranty claim? Warranty claims are resolved on the same day we receive the claim. More precisely, if there is such a claim, the client sends us this block to the factory. We examine it, conduct an analysis, and if we see a clear defect, we replace it free of charge. So here's a question. Hello? Here's my question. I use Japanese knives made of steel that rusts, and I use these knives in a professional kitchen. Please recommend one sharpening stone from your company. I think a 1000 grit will be enough, nothing fancy, maybe 3000 plus. Thank you.
Well, if the question is for me, then as I've already said, most often, well, ideally, of course, it would be good to know which kind of Japanese steel it is, because there are many different types. But most often, these are hard steels. These are S2, R2, V10, and so on. And as a rule, they are hardened to somewhere around, give or take, yes, 60 and above. Sometimes it can even be 64, 65. So, of course, if it's the middle and finish and we understand that the steel is brittle, then it's either Expert Pro or vitrifine.
One more question, please. Bronze Premium, that's MD001, MD02, MD03. Yes, you wrote the markings for the bonds, coarse grains for rough grinding. That's MD01, MD02, MD03. Those are micronics. Andri asks, which series of stones is suitable for VG10? Well, as Yuri said, let's give Yuri the floor as an expert.
Well, look, here's the thing. I've already talked about hard kitchen knives. VG10 can indeed be very hard, but on knives like, well, pocket knives, such as Spyderco, Benchmade, and so on, they actually don't harden it too much on those. So for these kinds of steels and for these kinds of knives, I would probably, I think, choose the premium just because it's basically everlasting, right? Or if I didn't have much time, I'd go with the silver because it works really fast. That's it. And for the finishing touch, if let's say you've already sharpened it and you still notice that it's chipping or breaking off in small pieces, then I would probably at this point go ahead and select something from Vitrified or Expert Pro again, just to be on the safe side.
So one more question. What is the difference between the MV01 bond and the MV001 bond? Look, the M201 bond is, let's say, still a Soviet era bond. It also contains copper and tin. And the MV01 bond is, let's say, an improved version of the M201 bond. I can't tell you exactly which components are included, as that's a commercial secret, but I assure you that these are two different bonds. M201 is more suitable for the glass industry and similar applications. MV001 was developed by our company specifically for knife sharpening. Greetings from Bulgaria. Greetings to you as well. How do you refresh the stones and when should you do it? How do you know when it's time?
Well, here, as I already said, if you are a perfectionist, then you should buy a good straight edge. That is, it is very, very straight. And if we're talking about premium bronze, then I think that before I sharpen at least 50 knives, I probably won't even check. That's it. And most likely it will be even more than that. It's probably just based on some kind of feeling. That is, when you're sharpening, you start to get a sense that it's not working as aggressively as before. And maybe it's not quite time yet to actually flatten them, but just to refresh them a bit. In other words, take a piece of glass, add a little water, sprinkle some powder, and work it in a figure-8 motion, say, for 2 or 3 minutes, just so the alum universality 1043 XXI, as they say, the stone gets refreshed.
Back to Yuri. Yuri, what exactly would the ideal set look like?
It all depends on what we're sharpening. But if we don't tie it to anything specific, well, for example, I have a lot of knives and they're all different. So I would put everything together the way I basically briefly already described. For the starting stone, I would definitely choose the premium bronze because it's indestructible and it's everlasting. And for the middle stones, I would most likely combine the silver and the Expert Pro. If we have more hard steels, then for the middle and especially for the finishing stone, I would definitely choose either the Expert Pro or the Vitrifine. Something like that. Another question. For a 3-2 MO stone, which powder should I use for lapping? Well, I usually just take about twice as much. So if it's 3-2, I'll just use whatever I have, like 5 or 10 microns. The thing is, silicon carbide breaks down as you use it, meaning it fractures into smaller pieces. And relatively speaking, even if we take 100 micron powder, after say 5 to 8 minutes of work, it will already be roughly 10 microns. That's it. But it's important to understand that when we refresh or flatten a stone, we're not working with the abrasive grains themselves, we're working with the binder. And it's very important for us that basically the silicon carbide passes between the diamond or CBN grains. So if it's a bit coarser, it will go between the grains and gently shave off a bit of the binder as it moves along. The abrasive grains will stand higher above the surface of the stone and will work faster and more aggressively. Yes, that's right. And I also want to remind you that all the videos that were used here will be sent to the chat of our official factory Telegram channel, which you subscribed to before joining this webinar. Also, as we promised, I want to remind you that everyone who places an order within 7 days, using the promo code timeout, will receive a gift, a set for using our sharpening stones. The set includes trebly flint, glass, parkour finishing paste, and special rubber mats for use. Also a honing rod. Our branded honing rod is unique in that it's not diamond, but instead features a coating made of CBN, which stands for cubic boron nitride, with a thickness of 10 microns. Let me remind you, the promotion lasts for 7 days and applies to all new product lines. That includes premium silver, premium nickel, and premium vitrify. The question is, how do you properly lap a ceramic bonded stone? Actually, just like any other sharpening stone, it's just that since it's not as hard, the process is actually much easier and more straightforward overall. So basically, the Expert Pro and Vitrified series are in some ways much more practical and convenient, especially if you're using them at home for personal use. Copper tin stones, on the other hand, are still noticeably more difficult to flatten if you need to do that. And where the binder is softer, well, relatively soft, the process itself isn't complicated. In my opinion, you don't even need to have a lot of glass plates for this process to work effectively. In fact, you could just have a single glass plate. You can use one side of the plate for coarser grit, which is ideal for the initial stages of sharpening, and then use the other side for finer grit, which is perfect for finishing and polishing the edge. This simple approach saves both space and resources while still giving you excellent results. So I guess that's it for today. Thank you all very much for your attention and for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate your interest and support. We've answered the most interesting questions. If you have any more questions, this broadcast will be saved on Yuri Zanaev's channel with Sanchar SLK, as well as on our official channel. If you have any other questions, please write them in the comments. Our marketing managers will respond to you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, everyone. Wishing you a peaceful day. We'll stay in touch.